I don't necessarily consider balancing my food.
I'm not aiming for a balanced diet, but I think it's important.
A balanced diet is really a major factor in how you want to look and how you want to proceed in life.
I think it's very important to eat a balanced meal overall for your physical health.
Though I don't pay attention to it, but I think it's important.
My name is Cynthia Mbui from KCA University. I study performing arts and film technology. I haven't had breakfast today. Most of the time, I prefer having lunch instead of breakfast, considering my schedule. When I feed, I don't necessarily consider balancing my food, the balanced diet. I just eat whatever is there, whatever I feel like eating. I don't like cooking. I prefer takeout. Or sometimes I just don't eat. It depends also. If I do takeouts, I don't consider anything. I just don't consider balanced diet. I just eat whatever is there. The one food that I can't miss eating in a week is junk food, mostly cakes and sweets. Yes. I do budget for my meals depending on the food that's in the house. If there's no food, then yes, I'll budget. If there's, I might opt to budget or to eat the food that's there. My budget doesn't affect my balanced diet because I don't know. I'm not a big fan of balanced diet. I've never really considered a balanced diet, but once in a while, I'd add greens to my food and fruits. I'm really not cautious about my fats and carbohydrates in the food that I eat. When I'm here, I rarely eat red meat, but when I go home, I think I eat red meat 6 times a week. Honestly speaking, I really don't check my fiber intake. In a week, I at least make sure I've drunk water 4 times. I've had an instance with my balanced diet, with my health considering balanced diet. So at some point, I really do think eating a balanced diet does affect my health positively, but I'm not really keen on it. I'd really like to add my mostly greens. If I really get the chance to, I'd really add eating greens with my food and how do I put it? Greens and fruits in the future so that I can aim for a balanced diet. What I'd like to tell the viewers about balanced diet is if it really does affect your health, then please make sure you follow that balanced diet because we're all different. But if personally I've been not eating a balanced diet and it only affected me once, so that I am really on the balanced diet. So it depends with how your body works. So I'd really advise on following whatever makes you healthy because at the end of the day, you should love yourself.
I'm Samuel, I'm in KCA. I'm taking film, I'm in my 2nd year. Yes, I've had breakfast today and I had coffee, a chapati and a banana. I prefer eating breakfast and skipping lunch. During the day, I rarely take a meal. I like cooking. I don't take takeouts. Mostly, when I cook, I tend to eat a balanced diet. Meat, I won't miss eating meat in a week. Beef, to be precise. Yes, budgeting affects whether I eat a balanced diet in a negative way. It isn't a routine. I'll eat a balanced meal like 3 to 4 times a week. Yes, I am cautious about fat and carbohydrate intake. I'm trying to lose weight. I oftenly take bananas and they contain a lot of fiber. I rarely take junk food. I take to up to 1.5 liters of water a day. I'm not aiming for a balanced diet, but I think it's important for the general health and well-being of a person. Yes, I was diagnosed with high blood pressure last year, so I had to change my diet to lower the blood pressure. I can change my eating patterns by aiming for a balanced diet. Yes, I can. I am planning to eat supper today, but I'm not sure what I'll have. I do not plan for a balanced diet today. Yes, they should aim for a balanced diet, and also they should drink a lot of water. It helps.
Hello, I am Cindy Esther. I'm currently a student at KCA University studying film technology and performing arts. Yes, I've had breakfast today. I've had tea, bread and eggs. I prefer to eat breakfast. I rarely eat lunch. I do not budget for my meals. I eat whatever I feel like eating at that moment. I do not cook. I rarely cook. Most of the time I do takeouts from either local restaurants or KFC. I have 2 meals every day, breakfast and supper. On some days I only eat yogurt for lunch. In the 2 meals that I have every single day, both of them are balanced diets. I make sure I eat a fruit either in the morning or at night. So when I take, in the morning I can take a complete balanced diet. That's like a pineapple, eggs and bread. Then in the evening I can have a meal plus maybe a banana or pineapple. The one meal that I won't miss eating is probably eggs or chapati. I eat a balanced meal every day, and yes, it's a routine. I eat it often. I think it's very important to eat a balanced meal overall for your physical health and your body, your fitness of your body. I am not cautious about my carbohydrates intake. I'm more cautious about my protein intake. I take more protein than any other food during my meals. I eat red meat probably 2 times in a week. I eat fiber maybe like 3 times in a week. Yes, it will depend on either I'm taking fiber in a fruit, that's like mango, or in an actual meal. It depends on my mood actually. I consume like, I'd say a plate of junk food, probably either fries or a burger in a week. I drink a lot of water every single day. I can take like 6 glasses of water in a day. Yes, I do aim for a balanced diet every single time I have a meal. Considering my health, I have to take a balanced diet. Personally, I have PCOS, so I have to take a balanced diet every single day, probably one that consists a lot of proteins and less carbohydrates. I can change my intake of junk food or fries because they are not good for my stomach, and I can also aim to drink more fluids. I do plan to eat supper today. I'll probably take ugali and vegetables and eggs. I will tell the viewers to first see a nutritionist to see what their body needs, either if they need a lot of carbohydrates or proteins or vitamins, because the moment you reduce a certain type of food and your body needs it, you get sick. So the first advice I'd give them is to see a nutritionist, then they can carve their diet according to what they have been told.
My name is Bilford Mudheri Mwebia. I'm a student at KCA University. Today I haven't had breakfast. I prefer skipping to lunch. I prefer cooking rather than takeouts. Yeah, I prefer cooking. Right now, no, because I still live at home, but soon I will. Yes, it does. Similarly, I'll say both, because at times I might have my own money, so I can do by myself a balanced diet, but other times I can't. I won't miss eating in a week. Ugali beef skuma. Out of 10, I'll rate it at 7, and I can't say it's a routine. I really do put it as a priority because I'm an athlete. In case I do play rugby, and for me to gain strength and also to be able to train and maintain sessions, I need to have eaten a balanced diet. For me, in my meals, I usually count the calories I do intake in a day. So in a day, I usually take about 2,000 to 3,000 calories. In a week, I'd say 5 out of the 7 days. I really like the beef and goat meat, but not really the liver meat. I don't really like liver. I've started a journey in which I would like to lose fat but maintain my weight. So in the junk food side of things, I'm not really taking it. In a week, I'd say like 1 or a half out of the 7 days of the week. Smocha. Smocha is the junk food I go for. In drinking water, I drink about 4 liters a day. In 7 days of the week, I drink 4 liters a day. But in some weeks where there's maybe the shortage of water, I take about a liter or 2 liters in a day. There's this one time I did a 100-day challenge in which this 100 days I did 100 press-ups. And one thing I did notice is when I did not maintain my diet, looking at what I was consuming, there was nothing I was losing. I was not losing weight and I was not gaining muscle. I was just staying stagnant because the calories I was losing while doing the exercise, I was taking more than what I was losing. So diet is hugely an impactful factor. It really does. I know it's ironical for how I look right now, but I really do check on what I take in as for now because I've understood what I need. A balanced diet is really a major factor in how you want to look and how you want to proceed in life. Because for me, I really think that it really has an impact on how, mentally and also physically, of a normal person and how things go around in their day-to-day life. Yes, I plan to eat supper today, and the thing I'll go for is ugali, skuma, and fish. Yes, not in future. As for now, they should start it as they see me right now. They should have already started it because a balanced diet to me and generally to everyone, it's really important. If you know what you want and if you know what you want to get at the end of the day, you need to do a balanced diet. That's one of the things you should start in if you want to change your life for the betterment of it.
My name is Buxton and mimi ni student hapa KCA nafanya film. Nilikunywa chai, nikaenda kwa duka, and then I bought some bread. Yeah, tea and bread, and I prefer tea and bread every day. For me, I prefer to eat breakfast, but not lunch. Lunch, it's not a necessity because I think as human beings, the only thing we need is breakfast and supper. Lunch, why are you eating lunch? And for me, I have my customers. As a man, I cannot eat lunch. Balanced fruits is all about fruits, and then there's proteins and carbohydrates. For me, I just eat what comes by. I prefer getting takeaway because I think it's much more. It's not time consuming. Yeah, I think it affects because I think kama ningekuwa najipikia I would have gone for a more balanced diet, but since I go for takeaways, no, I won't. I can't go for balanced diet. I just buy what I feel by, like for 3 consecutive days. I can eat the same food. Like my favorite food is chapati, so I'll eat chapati because for 3 consecutive days. So that's not a balanced diet. So, yeah. One food that I won't miss in a week, I would say ugali. Yeah, ugali. I drink water, but not that often. Not that often. I think naweza kunywa maji maybe when the food is spicy. I think that, yeah. But yeah, I think that's when I more like, that's when I'd more be naweza sukuma, as in I can be pushed to drink water. Yeah, I think it's important, but yeah, I don't think okay, though I don't pay attention to it, but I think it's important. No, I don't think it affects my health. I'm very healthy and I rarely get sick, so I think naona niko sawa. No, sioni kama naweza change. I think I'm okay. For me, I'm happy with what I get and eat. Yeah. Even supper, I don't go for. I'm not yet decided. Hata itafika nitajua. So yeah.
My name is Job Cassidy at the Sun Caterers at the KCA University. Okay, the most consumed meal that we prepare for students is white rice or vegetable rice plus beef. That's the most meal that students consume here. Yeah, most of the students usually observe the balanced diet, but not all, but most of them do. Yeah. Approximately, I can say around 80% of the students do consume a balanced diet. Yeah. Okay, according to gender, I think men mostly go for the balanced meal because you'll find male will take the starch, proteins, and the veggies, but mostly ladies usually go for fries only. So I think male take a lot of the balanced diet than the ladies. Exactly, according to our budget, it's kinda 100% possible to provide the balanced diet. Exactly, that's what we do. Our first priority is balanced diet for students. Yeah.
My name is Dorcas Anyango. I'm a clinical nutritionist by profession. So that basically means I actually help people understand how food affects their general health, whereby I focus on helping people develop customized plans or other personalized plans to be able to attain their health goals. Yes, a balanced diet is very important because remember we are looking for nutrients that are essential for growth and development, and still within 18 and 30 years we are also still developing and growing. We need to maintain ourselves. We need to get enough nutrients to support our body processes and all that. So yes, a balanced diet is important for growth and development and also for the youth in general. So a healthy diet would be a diet that majorly is composed of all the total amount of food that's required to maintain or even improve the quality of life. So most of the or rather some of the components in it include carbohydrates, which we mostly define as energy-giving foods, so we definitely call them starches. Then you have proteins, which we benefit from in terms of bodybuilding factors. Then you also have vitamins and minerals that we generally term as protective foods because you get protective factors from them without forgetting healthy and saturated fats and water. So someone can easily improve their healthy diet eating by focusing on the 3 R's. So by 3 R's, I mean you reflect on why you're consuming food. By that, you ask yourself, why are you eating the food? What are you eating and when are you eating it? Then with all that in mind, you also now need to reflect, or rather you replan, reinvent the decisions you've made from reflecting. So for example, if your habit is skipping meals, you now maybe start planning for the meals early. In any case, you have classes that are coming in the morning and you won't be able to take breakfast. Maybe have brunch with you or carry a small snack to go with to class instead of skipping meals. Then in terms of what kind of foods you're consuming, depending on availability of resources, e.g. money, you'd be able to easily a variety of foods that are easily within reach. So instead of meat, today you don't have the money for meat, you'd actually reach out for legumes because they also give us the same protein value that you're looking for from meats. Yes, there are dietary recommendations for every other individual. Remember, we generally have healthy individuals and then we have unhealthy individuals, meaning they could be ailing, they could be predisposed in terms of the kind of diet they're on that places them in medical conditions and all that. So yes, like I mentioned before, we have to make personalized plans. So yes, there are dietary recommendations for every other individual. So for healthy individuals, we won't expect them to have the same dietary recommendations as an ailing individual because for them they have increased nutrient needs as opposed to the healthy individuals. Carbs and fats are not bad for the body. Remember, I mentioned them as components of the healthy diet. So ideally, you're looking for energy. You're also looking for important contributors in terms of the nutrients that help your body to make up good cells, or rather healthy cells. That's from fats. And also brain function, because we have omega-3 fatty acids, we also have omega-6 fatty acids, and you're also looking to get good healthy oils that actually raise our high density lipoproteins that help protect us against heart diseases. And also for carbohydrates, you're also looking for energy giving foods that actually have increased fiber to be able to help our bodies utilize that energy well without giving us consequences at the end. There are consequences to not eating well, so there are deficiencies that you actually expect. And generally, because of youths, we have a lot of preferences in terms of taste, in terms of trends and all that. So for youths, yes, we have. So some of the nutrition deficiencies you're looking at could be iron, because most times you'd find we're not really consuming a lot of iron-rich foods. If it's not meat, we don't focus on legumes, we don't focus on nuts a lot, so we tend to take it out a bit. And also because of economic factors, you may not be able to get the meat every day, so you'd easily opt to take a mandazi from the shelf, or chipo, or ugali, etc. Apart from iron, we also have calcium deficiency, which is generally because also most of the times because you're skipping meals, you're not able to get to your ideal daily recommendation in terms of intake for nutrients, for the calcium nutrient. Then you also have vitamin D. So generally, as you're growing up, you're not spending a lot of time outside. And remember, the sunlight is a major source of vitamin D. So we still have deficiencies resulting from not exposing ourselves to the outside environment. We also have iodine deficiency, which mainly causes goiter, which is related to thyroid function. So thyroid function controls how your body balances hormones and all that. So in terms of salt access, processed foods and all that, would be easily predisposed to getting iron deficiency. We also have zinc deficiency. We also have vitamin A deficiency, and there are many others that we still need to focus on. So yes, youth can actually get nutritional deficiencies at this age. Hydration is very important, and it plays a very critical role in your overall health because it controls most of the functions in your body. Remember, your blood is composed of between 50 to 70% of water. Ideally, by 70%, I mean any child below 5-10 years has 70% of water in their body. And as you're growing old within this age group of 18 to 40, we are looking at around 60% of body water. And if you're growing older, because you have less lean muscle, you expect to store less water. So you're looking at around 50% of body water concentration. So yes, water is very important because remember, it controls brain function. It helps your body to take out electrolytes or other waste products. It helps to balance your high blood pressure and all that. So diet helps to control the heart-related infections or other diseases by counteracting or rather avoiding consequences. For example, like I mentioned before, for carbohydrates, yes, we ideally need carbohydrates, but what type of carbohydrates are you using? Is it complex carbohydrate? Is it processed carbohydrate? So with that, if you're talking about heart diseases or even conditions like non-communicable diseases whereby you have diabetes and hypertension and the rest, if you're consuming bad fats or rather, bad carbohydrates, your body might not be able to regularly use the amount of sugars you're producing within the blood, which could easily mean because you're developing diabetes, you'd easily get hydrated, which could result to hypertension and the rest. And for example, if you're not consuming enough fiber from the carbohydrates, your body will not be able to drag out the excess fat that now predisposes you to getting things like hypertension because they decalcify within the arterial walls. So yes, that plays a very critical role. So apart from high fiber foods, you're also looking at the amount of salt you're consuming. So for individuals like adults, or rather that age group between 18 and 31, we're looking at an intake of around 1500 grams or 2400 grams, 2400 milligrams. So that is like a teaspoon and a half. So with that, a teaspoon and a half, it's supposed to be distributed among all your foods that you're consuming within the day. But if you're consuming high processed foods, you definitely have exposure to a lot of salty component, which ideally would dehydrate you at the same point, leaving your blood thickened, which means your heart will be trying hard to pump the thick blood to all the body parts in the body, which leads to high blood pressure. Then again, we're also looking at the amount of sugars you're consuming. If you're putting in too much sugars in the body, that means your body might not be able to cope to produce enough insulin to bind to the glucose to send it to the site where it's supposed to be used. So with too much glucose running in the system, we'd easily get type 2 diabetes and all that, which in any case we don't control the type 2 diabetes, would now further advance to type 1 diabetes. So you now have to inject your insulin into the body to be able to control the amount of glucose you get to use. So with the age group of 18 to 31, it's very critical to schedule appointments regularly to see the doctor. Normally we say at least a year if you have an ailment or a health condition, but if you are healthy, you'd look at a duration of ideally one visit every 1 to 3 years. So every other year you go for general checkups, or every once in 2 or 3 years you'd go for general checkup in terms of your reproductive health, your general well-being, to check on your sugars, your high blood pressure, your height and weight, because you also need to maintain an adequate weight so that you avoid the consequences of heart disease and all that's related to high body weight. So with that conclusion that they made, or rather you made, we are actually looking at a generation that is not going to have a progress, or rather is at increased risk of developing metabolic syndrome diseases. So things like hypertension and diabetes, because remember, if you're taking things like smocha, I'm assuming that's chapati and smoky. So that means you're exposed to high fat from the chapati, and also remember the kind of fat most people use outside there is the saturated fat. So ideally you're giving your body more cholesterol or more fat that it may not be able to convert for use, which is now deposited into the body to give consequences like high blood pressure because it decalcifies in the arterial walls. Then also for smocha, yes, smocha, or rather smoky, is a protein in itself, but if you look at the concentration of protein within it, it's like 40%. So if you're getting 40% concentration of meat, and then the other 60% is made up of other nutrients, or rather not nutrients, but components like starches and preservatives and the rest, it means you're not getting good quality, or rather good value for that particular amount of money. As opposed to taking smocha, you'd rather take, say, githeri, which is around the same price or even less costly. You'd also focus on things like ugali and mayai, or ugali and sukuma wiki. So ideally, the main components that make up a balanced diet, which include carbohydrates, proteins, vegetables and fruit, should ideally make up all your meals so that you're able to maintain your quality of life. Without which, if your body does not get that balance of nutrients, you'd easily be predisposed to getting severe, say, pneumonia, or in any case you get an ailment such as flu, you actually get worse symptoms than someone who is healthy, right? And then in summary also, for the components of a healthy diet, it's normally summarized into the food pyramid. Nowadays we use a lot of the food plate model, whereby we say, since we're in this adulting age, you're not really using up a lot of energy. So ideally you don't need to take a lot of carbohydrates, you don't need to take a lot of proteins. You need to consume more vegetables so that they give you protective factors to prevent all these aging diseases. Then again, the amount of carbohydrate you're using, as a student, you're here, you're there, you think, that all uses energy. So you're ideally supposed to replace with healthy carbohydrates. I'm not saying chapati is bad, but what kind of chapati are you eating, and what's the exposure in terms of variety? Is it chapati only the whole of the week, or it's chapati here, ugali there, githeri there, etc.? You understand? And then of course fruits and vegetables. Instead of now reaching out for that smocha because you're hungry, something like bananas are filling, something like avocado is filling, or you could easily get a fruit smoothie that still helps to give the same benefit, but added nutrients to it that give you general progression towards a good quality of life in terms of health status. Okay, so with regards to that, it's actually from a person-to-person perspective. So with that particular person, you'll be able to find out what kind of foods are they predisposed to. If, for example, they easily consume more of carbohydrates than vegetables, and they consume more of proteins than vegetables or carbohydrates, that would ideally mean it's either you're adding, or it's either you're maintaining the same weight without losing. Then apart from diet alone, you're also looking at a healthy physical activity routine, whereby yes, as a student you get to walk around a lot, but would you prioritize that 30 minutes to just take a walk in terms of healthy matters, so that you're able to make sure your body utilizes the energy you've consumed, so you don't have the consequences of storing, for you to say we are not losing the weight depending on how you wanted to lose it. Now that would actually predispose him to look for diets that actually promise to give you instant results, and if they don't work, now that's how we develop eating disorders. We end to take out carbohydrates. So if you're at a party, you get to take a lot of foods, you end up vomiting, or you end up avoiding the food because you also don't want to add on to the weight, right? So it ideally means if you're looking to maintain a healthy weight, or you're looking to maintain a healthy lifestyle, the plate model would actually guide you, because remember, we need these components to be able to improve or even maintain, because we are losing cells every day, we're also performing body activities every day, so we need to replace these nutrients. And apart from replacing, now after you start to eat, what other actions are you taking? Are you sleeping well? Are you drinking water well? Are you exercising well? All those contribute to how your body actually uses the food you take. In terms of skipping meals, psychologically, when you sit down to eat a meal and you skipped lunch or you skipped breakfast, you'll find yourself taking in more portions than you'd ideally take, which means your body will use whatever nutrients it requires for that point, and the rest that's been taken will be used as storage. So that storage is what adds up onto the consequences, which we see manifest itself later in life, right? So whereby you say, say of normal BMI average, and I skip meals, but when I sit to eat, I still eat normally in terms of the correct components, but whatever portion you're consuming might be high. Then when you go for the general health checkup, maybe yearly, you get that your high blood pressure is up, or you have a high glucose concentration rate within the past 3 or 6 months, which would ideally mean, yes, you slowly started developing the heart-related problems, or the non-communicable diseases without noticing. So as opposed to avoiding or skipping that meal, if, for example, you're a student and you plan to eat well and still attend class, you'd be able to plan for these meals earlier, or even go for shopping so that you're able to plan for the meals very well. In any case, you're in a setting where you can easily prepare food every other day, or you get to prepare food once in a while, you'd easily prepare bulk storages of food and keep them to use for later. Food is very important in terms of maintaining your quality of life, I'll insist, because in any case you're not eating well, your body will not get sufficient nutrients to survive, which predisposes you to getting malnutrition. And if you're malnourished, you may not be able to give your full efforts in terms of whatever you're doing, be it education, the kind of work you're doing. In any case, you get sick, you might get severe symptoms because of malnutrition, as opposed to if you're just a normal healthy individual. And that would actually affect your future generation, because if you're not healthy and say you're a lady and you get pregnant, it means because you're not eating well, you don't have enough stores to support your baby. That would ideally mean you'd have a fetus, or rather an infant, who has congenital conditions, and by that I mean something like hydrocephalus, or the baby had the spinal cord coming out, or rather wasn't in position before that time took place. And that's why the government put in place structures to actually support mothers with supplementation like iron and folic, so that you're able to make sure, even though they're not consuming enough, you're still getting it as supplements. Then if the infant is born, it means if the baby is disabled, we won't be able to have time to easily go out to perform our duties, since you're looking after our child who needs attention. And that ideally means you'd be stressed. If you're stressed, still disposes you to getting heart health conditions, because your body would be producing more adrenaline, which means if you're producing more adrenaline, your body is still pumping blood at a fast rate. That would easily make your valves weak and all that, or the continuous exposure to adrenaline would maybe maintain your high blood pressure at a level where it can't go down without medication. And then, of course, in any case you're stressed, sometimes your body produces a hormone called cortisol. Cortisol makes your body release sugars, So if you release sugars and you don't have enough insulin to cover the amount of sugars you produced, it means you'll have a lot of glucose in the blood, which still predisposes you to getting things like diabetes and all that. So ideally, eating well is the basic form of life from infancy to childhood. Let's not say because we are youth, we are strong, it means we don't have to take food like you're normally supposed to. If you don't take food, there are general consequences that would affect your life and your future generation. So in terms of eating healthy, you'd rather maintain a healthier lifestyle as opposed to trying out different diets every 3 months, every other 1 month, so that you're able to keep up with your health goals, right? So generally speaking, nutrition is very important. So the components you learned in primary school, high school, you're still supposed to embrace them and actually put them as a practice in life, so that people actually see you and see, oh, she's healthy or he's healthy, I need to follow that route, so that we don't get to spend a lot of money in the hospitals or contributing for funds so that someone gets help because of health-related consequences or rather nutrition-related consequences.